It is time for me to introduce the rest of my Blu-ray collection, and, yeah. I know I haven't done it in the past few weeks, but I've just been uploading so much, I just had to take a break, and now I'm gonna do the whole rest of the collection. Then I'll start doing periodic updates. First movie we got up is Forrest Gump. And Forrest Gump is a fantastic movie. Tom Hanks is great in this movie. It looks fantastic on Blu-ray, it sounds great. There really is a great amount of special features on this. It has a whole other disc for it. Not many Blu-rays do that these days. That was really cool to see. The movie's fantastic. It's funny, it's dramatic. It's just a mix of everything you could want in a movie. That's why I think everyone loves it so much. Next up is a movie that I will call a guilty pleasure because I know this movie is a poorly made movie, but I love the fights in it and I love the two characters in it. It's Freddy vs. Jason. Freddy vs. Jason, it's one of my favorite horror-like movies. It's not really scary, but it has the two guys in it. The fights between them are what make the movie. The last half hour of the movie is almost non-stop action and it's perfect. I love the fight. It's gory, it's gritty, it's dirty. And I've grown accustomed to watching the first hour. I get that the acting's bad and the writing is quite poor, but I really like this movie. Next up is one of the most underrated movies of last year. It was a great movie, and Colin Farrell played one of the best vampires I've ever seen. Fright Night. I've already really reviewed the movie, so I don't really need to go into that. If you want to see the review for that, you can go right there and look at it. The movie, it looks fantastic on Blu-ray. The picture quality is great. There's a few little smudges, and it's really a dark movie, so the transfer, it looks great for a dark movie. There's still a few spots where it was a little bit murky, but other than that, it was great. David Tennant in this movie is so funny. I've watched this movie a few times since I got it at Christmas. He's so funny in this movie. I really want to see him in more movies, and I hope they go ahead with Fright Night too, because I heard he was going to be the star of it, but it didn't do that well, so they probably won't. Speaking of movies I hope they go ahead with sequels to, but they probably won't, is Green Lantern. I got the steelbook for this the day it came out at Best Buy. It's so cool, and the back has the oath on it. The only problem I have is it's DVD sized. Doesn't look right up there. Comes with 2 discs, the extended cut. Now that I've seen the extended cut, I don't feel the need to watch it again because I know the backstory and I don't need to see it over and over again when I watch the movie. I still have no care for what anyone says. I love this movie. Screw you. Next up is a movie I'm probably gonna get rid of soon as I find someone who will take it, because not many people will. Halloween 2. When I first bought it, it was like a few days after it came out on Blu-ray. I was young. Please don't shoot me. Movie, it's quite bad. I enjoyed it like the first time. I enjoyed seeing the kills, but after that, it's like, this is just screaming and poor acting, no script. They even made Loomis unlikable in this movie. That's not cool. It sucked. As soon as I find a way to get rid of this, I will. Actually, I don't even want to put it in my collection anymore. Get out. Next up is one of my favorite comedies last year. A lot of people hated this movie. I don't care what they say. Hangover Part 2 really made me laugh. I don't care that it's the same plot. As long as a comedy makes me laugh, I will throw everything out the window. I will be very lenient with a comedy as long as it makes me laugh, and this movie made me laugh. On Blu-ray it looks fine, it's a comedy, I don't really think Blu-ray quality matters that much. I just want to see Hangover 3 now, I want to see them break Alan out of a mental institution. Institution. Next up is a movie I got for Christmas and I haven't watched yet, it was from a friend. It's Hunger, and I know Michael Fassbender is in this movie, it's Steve McQueen's first movie. He also directed Shame, which came out last year, which was a great movie. If you can see it, definitely do so. I really can't say much about the movie. I've wanted to see it for a while, and he got me in the Criterion Collection Blu-ray. That was pretty cool. Thank you, nameless friend, because I know he'd hate me if I said his name. Next up is I, Robot. I, Robot is a movie that I just find to be a nice popcorn action flick. Will Smith is great in it. The picture quality on Blu-ray looks amazing. I don't know, this movie, it just really entertained me. That's all I really wanted out of it, and that's what I got. Next up is another underrated movie from last year. It's The Ides of March. The camera's actually picking up the face. I suck. Ryan Gosling is amazing in this movie. I really think he should have gotten nominated for this if he got nominated for anything last year. George Clooney's great, made me care about politics when I hate politics in real life. That was just a really, really good thing that they did. It's definitely in like top 3 most interesting movies from last year, like character based and not really fast or anything. It's just really slow paced. As long as you get sucked into the movie, you'll love it. Next up is a movie everyone should really own, Inception. Do I really need to say more? Really? Next up is a very underrated Marvel movie in my opinion. I think Edward Norton's great in this movie. It's definitely better than the pile of trash they came up with in 2003. The Incredible Hulk. Edward Norton as Hulk was fantastic. I was upset that they replaced him, but I'm giving Mark Ruffalo a chance in the Avengers. As long as he can do the role well, I won't hate him because he's not the one who got Edward Norton out. It's not anything like that. This movie just blew away the 2003 version in story, acting, action, everything. And Hulk looked great in the movie. His fight with Abomination at the end was one of the best fights I've seen in a Marvel movie. We're about to be some killing Nazis. Was that really a Brad Pitt impression? Yeah. Inglourious Bastards. I don't personally like Quentin Tarantino as a person, but he can direct a movie, man. This movie is fantastic. Brad Pitt in the movie stole the show. Christoph Waltz as the Jew killer. Great. This is another movie that you just have to really get sucked into to enjoy because it's just so interesting. Next up is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. Yes, I even like the third one. It's Jurassic Park. I couldn't resist buying this when it came out. I needed to see the first one on Blu-ray. I really liked the second one, and I kind of enjoy the third one. It's not the best of movies, but I don't hate it. It's not a movie that I watch all the time, but it's a movie that I can enjoy. If I'm like going through the whole trilogy, I won't hate myself while watching it. And my god, the original movie, I'm not going to talk about the other two because they look fine, but the original looks amazing on Blu-ray. I love seeing it. All the little details in the movie, all the CG, all of the prosthetics, all of it looks fantastic on this. I'm really glad they took their time and transferred it right. Next up is actually a season from a TV show, Justified. I don't know how many people have actually seen Justified, but I just got into it a few weeks ago. I stopped watching season 3 so I could watch 1 and 2 first, and so far season 1 is amazing. I love this show. Timothy Olyphant's one of my favorite actors, and he's just pitch perfect on this show. And also, what's his name? What is his name? I am going to keep doing this until I figure out his name. Alright, I'm gonna have to do this stupidly. The convict from Predators, he's really, really good on this show too. He's like a white supremacist. And don't get me wrong, I hate his character, but he's so interesting that I don't want him to die. Next up is one of Steven Spielberg's best movies, Minority Report. I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise fan. He's had some duds in the last few years, but this movie, it was amazing. Tom Cruise is so good in this movie. I really dug his character, I really got into it. And Colin Farrell he's awesome in this movie. I don't care what anyone says. Colin Farrell does not overact to me. Next up is something I'll just do together, the Mission Impossible trilogy. I haven't seen 3 yet, but it was $20 for all 3 of them, and I loved 1 and I liked 2. So I don't know, I didn't have any reason not to buy these. I'm definitely gonna pick up Mission Impossible 4 when it comes out. Movies look fantastic from what I've seen so far. Next up is Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, and Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3. I'm waiting for them to release the rest of these on Blu-ray because I love these movies. I'm never gonna not love these movies. Nightmare on Elm Street is probably my favorite horror movie of all time. Just the introduction to Freddy, he's definitely the best horror character of all time. Robert Englund just made that role and did it perfectly. 2 was a little bit out there, but I still enjoyed it. It had some gay undertones, but even through those, I enjoyed it. Number 3 is definitely the second best of the whole series. Brings Nancy back. They get all these powers and dreams to actually fight Freddy. It's so much fun to watch. I haven't watched 2 or 3 on Blu-ray yet, but Nightmare on Elm Street looks great. I love being able to see this movie on Blu-ray. It's so good. Someone cracked my case. Next up is, you guessed it, another Nightmare movie, the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. Everyone hates this movie. Everyone. I have not met someone besides me who really, really likes this movie. Because you see, when the movie first came out, I was new to Nightmare on Elm Street, and when I saw this, I said it was the best one in the whole series, and that is not true. That's not true at all. Jackie Earle Haley in this movie is amazing. He's very, very good as Freddy. He and Robert Englund both play their Freddys to the best of their ability. And granted, Jackie Earle Haley had some poor writing to deal with, but he still made it sound creepy and menacing. The acting in the movie is fine, and I am the only one who really remembers that Rooney Mara was in this movie before Dragon Tattoo, or Social Network, or whatever. She was in this movie. She's not that good, but she's in it. Next up is a movie that just brings together so many amazing actors and actresses and just makes one amazing movie, and I need a new case for this. Look at this bullshit. Look at that. It's Ocean's 11. This is just the perfect heist movie in my opinion. George Clooney and Brad Pitt, they work off each other so well in the movie the whole time through. And just bringing in all these great stars together for one movie. It's so great. Next up is the superior of the two movies in this franchise so far, Sherlock Holmes. This movie is better than Sherlock Holmes 2. I'm saying that outright because so many people will argue me on that. Let's get down to it. Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law have some of the best chemistry I've ever seen in this movie. The movie looks amazing on Blu-ray. Mark Strong as the villain. He was a better villain than Moriarty. I'm gonna get into this a little bit, because Mark Strong, he had a specific reason for doing what he was doing. He was smart, and he was doing all these things because he didn't think he would get caught. The thing is, Moriarty was just a know-it-all. He's like, oh yeah, one of those villains that's just, oh, I'm never gonna get caught. Moriarty was just sitting there like, oh, I'm too smart to get caught. Smartness has nothing to do with it when Sherlock Holmes throws you off a cliff. Movie looks great on Blu-ray. What can I say? Guy Ritchie's direction movie is great. I love the use of slow motion. I'm not the hugest fan of slow motion, but in this movie it really worked. Next up is the Spider-Man trilogy. Yes, I own Spider-Man 3. I don't care what anyone says. So many people love to hate on these movies now because of the Amazing Spider-Man, which isn't even out yet, by the way, because, oh yeah, they were horrible, no one ever liked them. This movie crushed box office records, everyone loved it. This movie did just as well, everyone loved it even more. It was considered it was probably considered the best superhero movie of all time up until 2008, and this movie still got pretty good reviews. A lot of people hate it for, like, ruining Venom, and I agree that Venom was not the best of villains, but it was still an enjoyable movie. It's not a horrible movie. I don't have any idea what these people are talking about. It's damn near the same quality as the first two. I don't understand. The movies look great on Blu-ray. Tobey Maguire was a great Spider-Man to me. He wasn't comic book Spider-Man, and I understand that, but he was still really good in this movie. Next up is Stranger Than Fiction. I haven't watched the movie yet, so I can't really comment on it. I've heard it's really good, and I love Will Ferrell, so I hope I will like it. Next up is another movie people love to hate, is Quantum of Solace. I don't love Quantum of Solace by any means, but I still find it to be an enjoyable movie. It's definitely nowhere as good as Casino Royale, but it's better than a lot of those old Bond films out there. Daniel Craig is just such a good Bond that he can carry the movie even when it's not the best of quality. That's why I like this movie so much. Hey, guess what? We're back on underrated movies from last year. Straw Dogs. Straw Dogs is a movie that it's just up my alley because it's a revenge type horror thriller, yeah. It's a revenge type movie. Like, you see the movie building for a good hour, and that is pretty slow, and I'm fine with that because I like watching the building action before the storm. And then the storm hits and James Marsden just goes nuts. And one of the kills in that house is such a good kill. It's so satisfying to watch. Oh my god. I love watching that scene. The movie looks fine on Blu-ray. It's not the best I've ever seen, but gets the job done. Next up is a movie that started the trend for Liam Neeson wanting his family back. Taken. This movie is just a purely fun action movie. It's not something that you should go into thinking about, because the movie is not very realistic. It doesn't really take itself too seriously. It just has Liam Neeson being a badass, killing people and getting his daughter back. That's the point of the movie, and it succeeds in entertaining us with that. Next up is another movie I should watch, but it was $5, and that's the only reason I really bought it, and I've heard it's amazing. Terminator 2. I'm gonna watch this really soon. I've heard it's amazing, and I can't wait to watch it. Next up is a very nostalgic movie for me, and everyone I've talked to really just hates this movie. I don't know why. It was better than Terminator Salvation, at least. The Terminator 3. This movie was the first rated R movie I saw in theaters, and that's why it's nostalgic to me, because I just have memories. Like, when I watch the movie, I have memories of seeing, oh, that was the scene in theaters, oh, there's that too. I just really like watching this movie. It keeps me entertained the whole time through Arnold's still in it. Take that, Terminator Salvation. Arnold's still in this one. This just made me realize I own 3 of the 5 superhero movies that came out last year. Thor. Thor was a billion times better than Captain America, which after my review, my thoughts, I just kept going down, 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 down. It was really cheesy, and Red Skull was a really bad villain. But back on Thor, Loki was amazing in this movie. He was a great villain. I can't wait to see what he does in the Avengers. Chris Hemsworth was perfectly cast as Thor. And on Blu-ray, there's a few dark scenes that are a little bit muddled, but other than that, the movie looks great on Blu-ray. The outdoor scenes look crystal clear, it looks great. And the sound in the movie is really preserved from the years. You know, those smashing sounds, it was amazing. It like, popped one of my speakers. Next up is the only movie in this trilogy I really care to own, Transformers. Transformers 2 was good, but I never have an intention on owning it. Transformers 3 had great action in it. I just don't want to own the same movie twice, so Transformers it was, and Transformers it is. Don't make Transformers 4, please. Please don't. I don't want to cry. Next up is my favorite movie from 2010. It's a great movie. Coen Brothers directed this so well. True Grit. This movie is crystal perfect awesomeness on Blu-ray. Yeah, it looks crystal perfect awesomeness. Take that. Jeff Bridges, Matt Damon, Josh Brolin, and Haley Steinfeld were all amazing in this movie. In their respective roles, Josh Brolin being the meth addict coming off of Jonah Hex, Jeff Bridges being that guy you don't understand, Matt Damon being a nerd, and Haley Steinfeld being a wise ass. All of it worked so well. It was really funny and witty, and the movie had a good ending. A lot of people don't like the ending, because we watched this in my film class. A lot of people didn't like the ending. I think it fits. This should come as no surprise that I own this for anyone. The Walking Dead Season 1 Special Edition. I thought about buying the 2-disc edition, but I love special features, so I needed to wait for this. The art, look at the artwork on that, that's just awesome. All the special features on this are great. The episodes themselves look great, and I was watching this and I realized how much better Season 1 is than 2. I hate to say it, but Season 1 was much better. Granted, Season 2 is still really good so far, but Season 1, I don't see Season 2 beating it at this point. What's that? More underrated movies from last year? Yep. Warrior. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy. Do I need to say more? Tom Hardy in this movie. I connected with this character so much in this movie. I don't know why, but I did. Joel Edgerton's great. Nick Nolte is fantastic in the movie. And the movie had a really great dramatic side. And the fights in the movie were filmed really well. You could see what was going on. They were really intense, especially Tom Hardy's fights. Those were fantastic. Who watches The Watchmen? Well, apparently no one, because this movie didn't do too well. Watchmen. This movie is a movie I find to be amazing and fantastic. Zack Snyder's best film in my opinion. Jackie Earle Haley is great in the movie, but it's just a movie that I won't watch all that much because of how long it is, how daunting it is. It just seems like a really long experience. I will watch it sometimes, but this movie, it just seems like one I won't watch as much as a lot of the movies up there. Yes, I own all of them. X-Men, X-Men 2, X-Men 3, The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, pause it and scream, oh wait, and X-Men First Class. All of these movies I own for different reasons. X-Men 1, it kick-started the franchise. It was a great, dark movie. Hugh Jackman really made it. X-Men 2, because of the great story involved, all the extra characters that were in it. I loved having to watch Magneto and all of the X-Men work together to fight that common enemy. That was a great story. X-Men 3 was definitely not as good as the first two, but I still enjoyed it for what it was, and Brett Ratner. X-Men Origins is a purely entertaining action movie. It's not supposed to be smart, I understand that, and that's what I enjoyed as, and just Hugh Jackman, he's in the whole movie, that's why it's so great. And X-Men First Class, need I say more, it's such a well put together movie, it's definitely the best X-Men movie. Michael Fassbender as Magneto. Mwah. Last and most certainly not least is Zombieland. Zombieland is definitely one of my favorite comedies of all time. Woody Harrelson just makes the role, oh my god. Tallahassee's great. If he doesn't come back for the supposed sequel, I'll die. And the movie looks fantastic on Blu-ray, you can see it all. Everyone in their respective roles was funny, even the little girl, and I don't usually like kid actors. Alright, so that's it, that's my collection so far. I'll make an update video after I've bought about 5 or 6 more Blu-rays. I'll do that periodically. I don't buy Blu-rays all the time, but when I have money, I'll get ones that I want. So expect those they'll come out of the blue usually, but they'll come in on a weekday. So, what'd you guys think of this Blu-ray collection? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's your favorite X-Men movie? Did you enjoy Spider-Man 3? Write your beautiful comments down there and tell me what you think. Hey, if you like this video, hit that subscribe button up there, because if you don't,
I will look for you. I will
I'm not
find
listening
you.
to you again.